Am I the asshole for disinviting my sick grandmother from my wedding? Oh man. Off the bat, I'm going to say yeah. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Gray in Between. I'm your host, Lola, and together we'll dive into the captivating tales of Reddit and beyond, where life's most complicated moments take center stage. Let's get into it. I'm feeling a little sick today, guys, so excuse the cough drops you'll hear throughout the video. I, 40 male, fathered a child during an affair 12 years ago. The mom, 35 female, went to hospice within the last few weeks. Oh no. Did you know about this affair, child? Are you just finding out? Does your current family know? My wife, 38 female, Carol, and I were not married yet. We were together and I bought a house about 13 years ago. She was basically living there. We've been married for 10 years now. We have 2 boys, 10 and 7. Things have been fine. Just family life. I have not cheated on my wife while we were married. A woman, 35 female, Shelly, who lives in our neighborhood. She's a friend these days. Her and her ex-husband bought a home basically around the same time. We met at various events, garage sales, etc. in the area. I've had the house for a year and I lost my job. Carol was de facto living there. She was staying there with me 20 plus days a month and she still technically lived at home. So I decided to get my insurance and real estate license just in case I couldn't find work for an extended period of time. Shelly wasn't working either. She just kind of tagged along and worked on getting one too. Well, over the course of 5 to 6 months, me and Shelly were fooling around a couple of times a week. Shelly became pregnant. We stopped the situation. It never really occurred to us that it could be my child. We were using protection most of the time. So about 2 years later, Shelly and her husband split. Oh, what the heck? I'm confused. Okay, so he bought the house 13 years ago, but he's been with his wife for 10. Oh, you did cheat on your girlfriend. She just wasn't your wife. Okay, you made it sound like you never cheated on her while you were in the relationship. You did cheat on her. You just cheated on her while she was your girlfriend. I hope I got this right, or my sick brain is not comprehending this correctly. You home wrecked your own relationship and someone else's. So about 2 years later, Shelly and her husband split. He skips town and basically has had no contact. He came by during the holidays a few years back for a couple of days. I understand he has no relationship with their son. He doesn't pay child support. Shelly, Carol, and I are still friends. We haven't revisited the relationship at all. I honestly forgot it ever happened. Wait, the relationship was with all 3 of you. I'm confused. Shelly ended up using her insurance license and real estate license. She makes ends meet. I didn't need it. I found a job working local school district teaching and coaching some after-school sports. Carol is a veterinary assistant. Shelly was diagnosed with an aggressive form of ovarian cancer about 2 years ago. She fought, but finally decided to go into hospice. Her son, basically, is like a cousin to our boys. They aren't friends, but he plays on the same teams with them. He has been on family vacations. When Shelly goes out of town or has to work late, he stays at our house. Well, upon her choosing hospice, she decided to give guardianship to me and my wife, so that way we can handle his affairs while they track down the ex-husband. There has been an ongoing joke that we have 3 kids over the years, which has always been funny. But I noticed the kid is pigeon-toed. Like me, it has very distinct, very large front teeth that run in my family. My wife was surprised she gave us guardianship, but her reasoning was he wouldn't have to change schools and he knows the family. So I started getting nervous and I asked Shelly, is her son mine? She used to think no, but about 3 to 4 years ago, she started realizing I probably was. So we started discussing what's going to happen. Shelly said she had no interest of knowing who the father is or telling anyone about our relationships at this point. My marriage is okay. I don't want a divorce. But I'm basically backed into a corner. Shelly has her house and a life insurance policy. She wants the proceeds of a sale to fund his college education and the insurance policy to help him buy a house. It's about $500,000 to $750,000 between the two. Depends on some filing estate matters, however. So I get a paternity test on Shelly's son. It came back that he is mine. We have about $10,000 to $14,000 saved for our kids' college education. I am 100% sure this will end my marriage and my newfound son would suffer financially. I view it as I have 2 options. Divorce my wife, I take care of my son, and co-parent with my 2 other children. Stay with my wife, say nothing, view this as a windfall to my family, use it to fund the other siblings' education, and give our family some much-needed financial cushion. Would I be the asshole keeping this child secret from my wife and continue living with our children? Or tell her the truth and go live my life with my newfound son? Absolutely, you have to tell her. No doubt in my mind, you have to tell her. If you have any sort of love or sympathy or respect for this woman, you have to tell her. You'd be surprised at some people's reactions. I think if you have a very calm and explain everything to her. Wait, I'm confused though. Did you cheat on her? Did you not cheat on her? I don't know. You say you don't. I also do not like that the fact that you think that even if you do end up taking care of this kid, you do not have any entitlement to that money that his mom is working hard to give him. Absolutely not. To give your other son some financial cushion, get the hell out of here. That's not her job. I would be pissed. I worked my ass off to provide for my son and I know I'm gonna die and he ends up giving it to his half siblings. Get out of here. I didn't do this for them. Oh my God. And the fact that you even think of hiding it from your wife, that's your son's money and your wife deserves to know. Am I the asshole for disinviting my sick grandmother from my wedding? Oh man. Off the bat, I'm going to say yeah, but maybe she did something to deserve it. But she's sick. Why would you say that she's sick? Why is that important? Why is that relevant? Did you not invite her because she's sick? My grandmother is my only living grandparent, and she's my hero. When I was a kid, she beat stage 4 lung cancer, and when I had my own, less severe diagnosis of cancer, she was there for me even more than my parents. I hope people believe me when I say this. This decision to exclude her from my wedding is not one made lightly. However, I genuinely think it is to be for the best. My fiance and I are getting married in about 8 months. Been engaged for close to 3. We hadn't intended for such a long engagement, but it's where the dice fell. Initially, when planning the wedding, I absolutely wanted my grandmother there and sent her an invite. But about a year ago, she had a massive stroke. To make this absolutely clear, everything was planned and booked before she had the stroke. She's 90 years old and the family was kind of astonished she even made it. However, she's been in really bad shape since. On her good days, she still needs a walker to get around, though oftentimes requires a wheelchair. Unfortunately, our wedding takes place in an old historical location that is not wheelchair friendly. The ceremony space is quite a walk across a field from the reception area. All in all, not very suitable for my grandmother in her current state. I tried to see if we could move the venue, but the wedding was already paid off and the contract states we can't get a refund if we choose to cancel. So by moving locations, we'd be out $20,000. We're paying for the wedding ourselves and scraped together every dime we had to pay for it. So this isn't a hit we can financially bear. It broke my heart immensely coming to the realization my grandmother couldn't be there, especially worrying if she tried to push herself, it could harm her health further. And she refuses to accept it. She insists she'll make it there with her walker, but she can't even get through a grocery store trip, let alone an Aldi event. I suggested we have someone in front of the ceremony video call her, or have us married at a courthouse beforehand so she could be there for the actual marriage and still use the wedding as more of a celebration party. Hell, I would have been willing to get married in the damn parking lot. However, she's the type of stubborn and headstrong person to refuse to accept her limitations, and she was practically offended I would entertain the idea of ruining my own wedding or suggest she is less of capable of being there in person, and is now very upset with me that I've said if she refuses all of my compromises, then it may be for the best she not attend. Family members are equally angry with me for crushing her hopes to see me get married and have been giving me loads of shit, even though they're well aware of her condition and agree it would be virtually impossible to have her be there. The only one on my side is my fiance, which has me wondering if I really am the asshole for not letting her try to attend despite knowing it likely won't end well. Am I? Okay, yeah, I can see why people are mad at you. Can't say how my I look so nice right now. Okay, back to focus. I would hire someone, a caregiver, whatever, someone to transport her. They have like these types of people that can like lift and delift and like move them around if she really wants to be there and she means that much, which sounds like that. I think there's a will, there's a way. And then at any time you get a hotel nearby, and then at any time during the ceremony that she's really tired or she's out of it, you have them take her back. And then if you have family around, I think if you really wanted to, you have that conversation with them and you guys say, hey, if grandma wants to come, I need everyone's help to make sure she's okay. But you don't just tell her, hey, I think it's for the best that you don't come. You leave that up to her. If she made a decision, I'm sorry, I can't come, then that's different. But for someone to tell you, hey, you can't come, I think that's what rubs people the wrong way. Okay, wait, he does have an edit. I'll answer some frequently asked questions that I've seen so far. She does have a part-time caregiver come by her house a couple of days a week to bring groceries and take her to appointments and stuff like that. However, she's kind of a small lady herself and isn't even available the day of the wedding. We've looked into hiring or renting assistance of any kind. But we put almost all of our money towards the venue, which my parents insisted on for a centralized location. They've been taking control of the wedding and I don't have the best relationship with them. And it was one of the most affordable. No one in the family has yet to volunteer to help either physically the day of or financially. So we're pretty much on our own. My main concern comes from her potentially pushing herself too hard to get around, which has happened after the stroke and put her health at further risk because she's tried to continue living as she did before the stroke and has been hospitalized for it. No, I think you should for sure have a conversation with your family. Say, hey, if grandma wants to come, I need someone to ask for the help. Just because people haven't offered, I'd be like, hey, I need help. Please help me. And then if no one helps you, then you're shit out of luck. Then I understand. I mean, like realistically, your grandma sounds like a very petite woman. I would just throw her over your shoulder, hike her up, go to your venue, get a nice chair for her and call it a day. But I know when people are sick, it's a lot more meticulous than that. I'm pregnant and I don't know how to be civil with my ex because he's causing a lot of drama and I just don't know what the best way to deal with it is. How do I deal with this? Is he baby daddy or no? We gotta find out. If he's not, then you don't have to deal with him at all. Okay, it is. I let him know as soon as I got confirmation from the doctor. At first, he didn't want to be involved, but then a week later, he called me saying he wanted to be involved. The issue I'm having is that he brought up that his entire family doesn't like me and neither do his friends because I left him. All that really happened is I left because I was no longer happy, and honestly, he was controlling and I wasn't happy where we were living. He took me 70 miles from my hometown and was not listening when I told him I wanted to leave. It took me having to pack my stuff and leave while he was asleep to get out of there. I had no idea I was pregnant when I left. I'm sure he probably didn't tell them all of that, which is why it looks to them like I just left out of the blue for no reason. Just the fact that they all hate me proves to me that that's what he must have done. I still wanted to do the right thing regardless and allow him to be in his daughter's life if he wants to be. However, I'm not sure how to navigate this with all of the drama he's causing. I don't care what his friends and family think, and I'm tired of hearing about it. All that matters is our daughter, and I can't seem to get him to focus on that. He's the one accusing me of creating drama. I think he's just mad that I left and he wants to try to control things, and he's mad that I'm not letting him. I've asked him not to contact me now, but I know we need to talk about this. How do you deal with someone who is creating drama while trying to do what is best for your child? What would be the best way to deal with him? I thought about asking him to just give up his rights if this is how it's going to be. Oh my God. In this kind of situation, because you said he was abusive and the fact that you're getting all this kind of like confrontation from his family, I hate that. Like when they get involved and it's like, no, they should leave it up to him and let him figure out the mess that he made. And also they stated that she's 40, he's 38, if that makes any difference in the situation. But at this point, I wouldn't contact him again, and he wants to contact his daughter, he can apply via the courts. But if you want to be nice and have that one courteous meeting with him beforehand and you set your boundaries and expectations, say, hey, you are causing me distress. I am pregnant. I don't want to deal with you and I don't want to deal with your family. We can do this the civil way and not get any legal affairs involved in this matter. But I need you to understand that this is going to go the way I want it to. I'm going to try to respect you and you're going to have to respect me. And you set your expectations and your boundaries. This is how you want it to go. And you go a little bit back and forth on what it's going to look like when you have the baby. If at any point you see that repetitive behavior that he's been having throughout your relationship and you don't have to deal with that. You're not with him anymore, regardless if you're having his daughter or not. You don't have to deal with that. Then you say, talk to your lawyer, talk to a judge, because I'm done talking to you now. And that's kind of how you have to lay it out. And his family's making it worse. They think that having all that backup and ganging up on you is going to work. Don't let it get to you. I hope you have a good family and a good community that can help back you up so you don't have to deal with this. Don't let him ruin a great experience for yourself in your pregnancy. Am I wrong for asking my girlfriend for monetary equality in a relationship? I'm going to say yes right off the bat because I don't believe in that. I said it! My girlfriend, 24 female, and I, 25 male, were having discussions about how our life are going to be in the event we decided to get married. We have been together for more than a year. I said that I prefer that both of us contribute to the marriage monetarily. It does not have to be 50-50, but I said what is important is that both of us should be expected to contribute to the marriage. I give an example, which is my parents, myself, and that they have their own monetary responsibilities that they split among themselves for the family, as both of them have their own job. However, my girlfriend argued that this is the responsibility of the husband, to provide solely for the family, even if the wife also has her own job. She said that the wife's money is for herself and it is up to her whether to contribute or not, and that the wife should not be expected to contribute. She explains about how every husband should have the provider's mentality. She explained her family does that and her father is the sole provider. However, her mother is a housewife with no job. She also mentioned that it should be common sense for the husband to be the sole provider with no expectation from the wife to be contributing monetarily. If the wife wanted to contribute monetarily, it is up to her. There should be no expectation from the wife. When hearing about my views, she totally disagreed with my view that both husband and wife should contribute to the family. Now she is really mad at me and said that it's not her fault for her to have a view like that. Almost felt like she is looking down on me at the moment. Right now I'm feeling very confused. Is she mad because I have a very contrasting view with her, or the fact that I will not become what she hopes for me to be? Okay, so you just learned, regardless of my opinion on both of your views, you just learned that you two are not compatible. So move on. You will find someone who is okay with what you ask of. She will find someone who will provide what she asks for. It ain't each other. So move on. So I will give a little bit of my opinion on 50-50 because it's such a valid topic in today's world. People like to say, oh, but the cost of living, it's different from when our parents and da-da-da-da. I will say this though, not saying all men, there are good men out there. I will always say there are great men out there, but a lot of men now want their wife to contribute financially. But people have to understand when you have that expectation of your wife, you lose other factors and qualities that you would want in your wife. If I'm working my ass off, don't expect me to get up and make breakfast. Don't expect the bed to be made every day. Don't expect laundry to be done every day. We're going to be going at it 50-50 across the board, right? So when I look at 50-50 in a relationship, his pull, I don't like the term 50-50, first of all. I hate that shit. I think partners should be putting 100% in the relationship, but his aspect is providing protecting, securing the family, nurturing the family, right? This is my own view, was what I want. And the wife, no, he's not nurturing. That's the wife's job. The wife is gonna be nurturing, being the homemaker, providing that emotional stability, that, the food, the cleaning, the cooking. That's I'm saying, if he wants him to do part of that, I will do that for my man if I don't have to work, right? Because I'm like, no, he's working hard to provide for us. I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna make sure the house is clean. I'm gonna make sure there's good food ready for him. I'm gonna make sure when he comes into this house, there's no worry for him in this house. This is gonna be his safe space. But if I gotta work, what are you getting for takeout today? Why didn't you do the laundry? You have to take that on too. You can't expect to have the wife that you want in like the traditional aspect and then also have her providing monetarily too. Don't even get me started. I'm not saying it's wrong, guys. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I don't want to. But yeah, I'm saying like, don't have the expectation that, okay, I gotta get my thoughts straight. I'm a working woman, obviously, okay? I don't ever want to be with someone who expected me to contribute. Would I contribute? Of course, I'm not an asshole, right? I work, I want us to have nice things in life. But if he says, no, babe, you have to contribute to the bills, then we're not compatible. He can be like, no, I know like you're going to make money, but if we're going to go off of my income, I will provide for us the best I can, but I will never expect anything from you. We may not have the best house, we may not have the best car, but I will provide for us. You will never have to worry about that. And then don't even get me started when you have kids, because that's a whole different ballgame. Am I the asshole for not reprimanding my daughter for a video she posted about my stepdaughter, even though what she said was true? I hate that, because it's like, is it considered backbiting even if it's true? Yes, it does. It is backbiting. It counts. Brief history. My husband has a daughter, Edith, 27, female. Okay, these are grown-ass adults. You said children. Edith, 27, female, from his first marriage. He divorced his ex when Edith was 7, but she apparently had a hard time with the split and moving houses. He and I met when Edith was 10. Together, we now have Cecile, 15 female, and Peter, 10 male. Edith has always been aloof with our children. She was never particularly interested in them. Although both kids, Cecile especially would have loved a closer relationship with her. I did bring up to my husband a few times that I was worried about Edith not being closer to her siblings. He responded that her ambivalence was better than he expected, given how hard she took the divorce. And he did not want to rock the boat. I was not happy with this, but I let it rest. He and Edith are pretty close, but she barely speaks to me, Cecile, or Peter. Cecile has mostly gotten over her desire to be closer with Edith. I used to see her perk up when she saw her at family functions a few years ago, making a point to sit close to her or talk to her. She does not do that anymore and is polite but not super eager when we see Edith now. As a younger sister, having an older sister, like you look up to them a lot and you like want to be in their circle and be in the cool kids club, so I understand that. But usually, like in my situation, I got closer with my sister as I became an adult. As kids, we were not close. So to the current situation, Cecile recently discovered a TikTok account of Edith's cousin. Apparently, Edith has a sleepover in her condo. She lives in a big fun city, and they go to events. They seem to be very close. This opened up a whole lot of feelings for Cecile, and she got upset and responded to the video saying, "That's my sister, and she barely talks to me." Oh my God, she's wrong. Wrong. Literally, that's all she said. What do you mean literally that's all she said? If you're on a public platform like TikTok and those videos go viral, people will attack them. Like, what do you mean that's all she said? She wanted to start shit, and she did. Literally, that's all she said. But she got quite a response from people giving opinions for both sides. Apparently, someone figured out Edith's Instagram and were sending her harassing messages. I definitely feel awful about that. However, I refuse to reprimand or punish my daughter. She only said the truth. My husband is upset as Edith skipped Thanksgiving at our place this year, and he thinks punishing Cecile will help his and Edith's relationship. I say you're wrong as a mom. I think you're wrong for not reprimanding her. Edith doesn't owe no one nothing. She doesn't want to have a relationship with you guys. That's her choice. Let her live with that, right? You need to help Cecile better compartmentalize her feelings. Sure, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Of course, she yearned for that relationship and she doesn't get it. You got to talk to your daughter about leaving comments and identifying information on social media sites and the unintended consequences of it. You need to explain to her, as someone who's on social media, that her comment led to her sister being harassed, even though that probably wasn't her intended idea. It's what happened. There's a 12-year difference between your kids, right? She's not going to get along with her. She's still young. Like, what do you want your 15-year-old daughter doing with the 27-year-old sister in the city and having that life with her friends? She's not going to want to hang out with her in that aspect. She wants to hang out with her in general, but the city thing was just a very immature move of her to make that comment. And I think you're also letting this behavior pass because you wanted Edith to be the big sister for Cecile that she never was. I think you have some sort of like bad feelings here too. All right, you guys, it's time for the final part of today's episode, which is the viewer submission, where you guys send me your real life problems and dilemmas, and I give my raw, honest advice, and our other viewers along with me will help guide you. Am I the asshole for basically ending my friendship because my best friend wouldn't cover my shift for a funeral? So let me explain. My best friend and I work at the same place, and anytime she asks me to cover her shift, I do it, no questions asked. And half the time I'm doing it with only 2 to 4 days notice. The days she takes off lately has been to go get a tattoo or other small stuff that only takes an hour out of her day that I feel that could have been done before her shift. The time before last that I had to cover, she had to go to court and took the entire day off just to be out of court by 10 a.m. Her shift didn't even start until 2. I was informed 2 days prior to her court date that I was the only one who could cover her shift. I had plans that day, and at the moment I don't have a car, so I need to ask other people for rides when my boyfriend works. I decided to go over to my best friend's house to wake her up to go to her shift that day because I recalled at one point she told me, "I can't work your shifts when you give me such late notice or when what you're wanting it off for isn't that important." Yes, she legit told me this, and this was before any of her shifts I covered, and she told me this when I gave her weeks notice for me taking a day off to meet my boyfriend's family. So I decided to wake her up and make her go in. Technically, I didn't make her. I told her what had happened and that I had to cancel things for her shift and told her if I really need to cover it, I will, but it was a little inconvenient to me and the people around me that day. She went in, and then after, she didn't want to talk to me for a week. Jumped to present day, and my boyfriend just found out his uncle passed away and that he's one of the guys they want to carry the casket. Usually I have Tuesdays off, which is the day of the funeral, but this week everyone at work is having to pick up hours because someone quit, and now my best friend's mom is getting hired. My best friend has to work Wednesday to train her. So I asked her if we could switch those days so I could be there for my boyfriend at the funeral. To which I was told that 1, her mom really wants to be trained by her, and 2, it's short notice so she can't get her sleep schedule figured out. I let her know 5 days before the funeral. 3, I'll be there for him the day after the funeral. And 4, that it's not my family that passed, it's my boyfriend's. And it's not like I knew his uncle that well. Then when I went off on her for the things she was saying, like you two aren't married, so he's not your family, and that if he and I weren't together, would I really still call him family? And these next 2 are my favorite, that it was too short of a notice for her to switch with me. That made me furious, to which I replied, "Sorry, I can't tell you when someone's going to die to make covering my shift convenient for you." Then she told me I'm just going off on her for nothing and that I didn't know the full story. I still can't figure out what I'm missing, and now she's the one not talking to me as if I'm the one in the wrong. So am I the asshole for basically ending my friendship over this? If you're wondering the work schedule the week of the funeral, she works Sunday night 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday morning, then has Monday and Tuesday off, then works Wednesday 2 to 10 p.m. I work Monday and Tuesday 2 to 10 p.m. and then have Wednesday off. I thought about her sleep schedule well before I asked and narrowed it down to her getting off work Monday at 6 and still having 30 hours until work to sleep in for Tuesday. I figured that would be enough time for her, but even me considering her beforehand meant nothing, obviously. Girl, your best friend sucks. I can't believe this, that's the thing, best friends, don't use that term so lightly. I have friends in my life, thankfully. At a drop of a hat, when I need them, they'll be there for me. When shit hits the fan and I need my friends, I have people I can call right away and be like, "Hey, I need you." And the fact that you guys work together and she wouldn't do it, I'd be like, "No, go. Don't even trip. I got you." Even if it inconveniences me a little bit to alleviate some of your pain and stress, I would take that on as a friend. This girl is not no one. You don't want to be friends with someone like this who's giving you this much shit for shift coverage. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Gray in Between. If you have a story to share or a dilemma you'd like me to weigh in on, don't hesitate to reach out. Remember, life isn't always black and white. There's gray in the between. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep exploring the in-betweens. Bye.